How's it going? Happy Friday, regardless of what is happening in the markets. Let's talk about the stock market. Let me pull up my Webull here. How's it going? Let me know if my audio is coming in clear okay as well. Welcome, Tesla Economics. Martin, Michael, Dan, Shooter, Noivy, Jan, and others. Welcome. So let's talk about the market. The market is ugly right now. We look at the S&P 500 down about 1.7%. Thank you, Bill, for the audio check. Tesla obviously down about 7%. I titled this down 6%. Nasdaq is down a heavy 2.7%. So obviously growth is taking a hit. Doesn't take a genius to say that on a day like today. What's interesting as well is that if you look at the yields, the 10-year Treasury yields, those are actually down 7% as well. So you would think, okay, why is growth so weak? And the biggest killer of the day is VIX, Volatility Index. How's it going, everyone? And so now VIX is really what I'm watching at the moment, with VIX up at $34 at the moment. And $34 we haven't had probably, since January, actually, since we had that first jump up in the beginning of the year. I think, was it the Capitol riots or no, towards the end of the month? VIX is the one metric to watch. We need VIX to come back, obviously, below 30, 25, 20 for the bull market to continue. Generally speaking, the market is just is weak all around. Everything is dumping. So it's not necessarily a rotation is happening. It just seems like money is coming off the table. Nvidia is down 6%. Wow. Facebook's down 2.3%. Apple's down another 2.4% today. And Tesla, $1,005 sitting on the day. So let's talk about and dump it a little bit more. Let's talk about support and resistance level for a hot second. Obviously, $1,000 is the psychological whole number that we need to watch out for, that we need to look for. Now, short of 1,000, if Tesla does break 1,000, remember 1,000 will be a strong human psychological level. But should it break down below, our 50-day moving average is looking pretty imminent at 980. Remember, stocks travel from demand to demand. To supply in this case. And the next source of demand is not until we hit the 50-day moving average around 980. And again, $1,000 might seem to be that, and it seemed like that for a while today. But this is why moving averages are good to look at in times where you need to see where there might be pent-up demand. Wise Guy says, hey, Ash, take my ball home until the VIX is down below 17. This is a stressful week, and I sat in cash. Smart guy, Wise Guy. Smart guy. I mean, if you're sitting on cash, VIX is climbing. It's generally a good time to have cash. Now, again, this is not the problem, but this is what extended runs bring us: is extended moving averages, divergences. So when we talk about $1,005 sitting on Tesla right now, for us to pick up steam again, barring some sort of exogenous effect in the stock market, maybe call it December 9th or whatever might happen, we need demand to pick up again. And I'm going to go through the options order flow again in a second here. Ganesan says, the carnage is caused by Elon selling. I'm not entirely sure if he is selling discretionary shares today. I'd be surprised, but we'll find out. Vern, how's it going? Luce says it's buying time, not panic time. None of this is panic time. Now, the question is, how do you time it? And where are your best risk rewards for shorter term trades? For long-term trades and dollar cost averaging into a stock that you believe in, for example, like Tesla for me, doesn't matter, right? You can pick up shares whenever. Now, one thing I will say is volatility is high, right? So if you're buying shorter term options, now going to the options chain here, it's expensive. Next week, so 7 days expiration to today, a 1,200 strike is about $2.70. I'm still paying $200 out the money. I'm still paying $270 per contract I want to buy. So it's not like it's cheap. An 1,100 strike is $1,300 per contract, right? $1,350 per contract. That's almost $100 out the money. So it's still pretty expensive, in my opinion, volatility-wise to play. That's not necessarily meaning that we're not going to go up back there, but it does seem like it. Now remember, our 50-day moving average is 980. Keep an eye on that, but also keep an eye on this gap. Do we fill this gap down below, this gap that's highlighted here by Webull, 944 to 910? If you have Webull, by the way, you can enable these gaps being shown in your charts. I find it quite helpful because my Interactive Brokers doesn't do that. So that gap is 944. It starts at 944. It ends at 910. Does that gap get filled at some point? You guys are saying Elon must be selling. Why must it be discretionary shares? I don't think like actually okay. Here's a tweet I got. Here's a tweet I got this morning. I'm trying to find it. Let's see mentions. This is from Boil Down. He said, "Hey Ash, do you think the Cyber Quad for Kids announcement freed up Elon to resume selling from the common pool instead of the options pool?" So if you don't know, essentially what he's talking about here is Elon. If Elon planned his 10b5-1 schedule filings to sell his shares, he could have scheduled that out for certain days to be hit. And he could be in possession of material non-public information, and those could still be executing, no issue, right? With the discretionary share section, when we saw him dumping like a couple million shares on the open market, that we haven't seen since I think November the 13th or something. By the way, I got my juju here. Make sure you guys grab your own sit try or your own juju. I think we'll need it today. And we haven't seen him sell any discretionary shares in a while, which has led people to believe that, hey, perhaps he's in possession of material non-public information, which prevents him or any insider from selling or buying stock during that time. And that now that the Cyber Quad maybe is out, was that potentially the material non-public information? Who knows? I replied to that and I said, what did I say? I said it's an interesting thought, but is the Cyber Quad $1,900 product really material? That's the question, right? Let me know in the comments what you guys think. By the way, let me know where you guys are tuning in from in the chat. I know a little bit of a hectic start to this live stream, but I think it's important to cover everything here. Bouncing back up a little bit here as we peel our first oranges. 10-10 on Tesla stock. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from. City, state, country, whatever you guys feel comfortable sharing. Ryan says, if Elon isn't selling today, I'm shook. Remember, VIX is up there, folks. Like, I get it. It really does feel like Elon's selling today. But on a day where the VIX is up over $34, right, for the first time since the beginning of the year, 6% down move, it's not unheard of without Elon selling. Now, yes, if macro markets were flat and VIX was $20 and there was really nothing major, and yet Tesla was down 7%, I could probably agree with that notion. But I do think a large portion of this, maybe all of it, to be honest, might be just macro markets. And so, yeah, I'm not entirely sure. All right, let's read some cities and states out here, shall we? Tampa, go Bolts. Oh, I'm a Canucks fan, but I love Stammer. Wisconsin, Singapore, Virginia, Alberta. There we go. Ohio, Utah, Sweden. I'm getting pretty good with the states, folks. Orlando, Florida. Your neighbor's house, Frenchie. There we go. Maybe I can hear you through these thin walls we got. Germany. Sarah Salah says, I'm down with the flu, but I've got no choice but to eat the jujus. Feel better, my friend. Comox Valley, Vancouver Island. There we go. The jujus are tasting a little bitter today. I feel that. Arizona, Sacramento, Santa Marina, Detroit, Michigan, Norway, Israel, the city of oranges. Wow, love that. Ottawa, Pennsylvania, New York, Halifax, Orlando. Can't even read all these out. Saskatchewan. There we go. There's our first moon by digital. Thank you. Ottawa, Buenos Aires, Hawaii. Wow, we got folks from everywhere tuning in. Holland, Kentucky, Orlando, Florida, Dublin, Germany. Wow. Boston and the boonies. Oh, wow. We got thanks for tuning in wherever you are, whatever time it is. It's about noon here, and I'm not feeling overly great about the market, but I'm going to pull up Tradie Ticks, our handy dandy option software that shows us dark pool orders or block trades or options order flow. And let's take a look at what they're projecting. Affiliate link for them is in the description if you want to try them out for a week. Now, our algo order flow is not looking too hot right now. It's pretty much saying that, judging by the algos, we are where we should be at the moment. We saw a lot of put order flow come in the markets today. Let me change this to the 15-minute if I can. If you take a look at the calls versus the options, open interest, you'll see from the 1st of December onwards, the put open interest has actually exceeded Tesla yet again after one day of call open interest being higher on the 30th. And in terms of volume, yesterday and the day before, or actually yesterday, massive amounts of puts volume versus call volume. Historical premiums, this is kind of cool. It shows us the daily premium. So yeah, today so far, we've had about $674 million worth of call premium, $531 million worth of call, put premium, pardon me. And implied volatility rank has gone up, folks. Implied volatility rank has gone up. If you'll see, we're pretty much where implied volatility rank was towards the end of October and hadn't been since really, what is this, March or April, 91 implied volatility rank. What's interesting here with the gamma exposure, I talked about this last time on the live stream. Can't talk. 1,000. Look at the $1,000 strike gamma exposure. It's minus 500. I think it's put into millions. So minus 500 million gamma exposure at 1,000 indicates that there's going to be a massive magnification of a move when the stock is in and around $1,000. Meaning, if stock is heavily selling past 1,000, market makers are gonna have to sell into that dip, right? So exhausting the move. If Tesla catches a bounce post over 1,000, then market makers are gonna have to buy into rips. So essentially, what happens here is we kind of have this like magnifying effect of 1,000, where if this was really high positive gamma exposure, and this is all to the PDF that I shared last week that they give here. The 1,000 strike, if this really high gamma exposure here, then it would almost act like a buffering mechanism where market makers would be able to sell their positions into rips and buy into the dips. So kind of having that padding effect, but it's the opposite here. It's exacerbating these moves essentially. Max Pain, I don't really get into Max Pain to be quite honest. And 1010 sitting on Tesla stock, looking like we're bouncing here. Pena says, just remember Tesla was at 600 not that long ago. Anything around 1,000 is okay if it tries to dip. If it dips, try to buy more, she says. For sure. I mean, if you have shares, it's a lot easier said and done. If you have shares, if you have options, you have to take into consideration stuff like implied volatility, short-term theta decay, all this kind of stuff. But yeah, shares wise, not really a big thing. Yes. So Dan says, quad motor Cybertruck announced by Elon Musk, first to be produced. Yes. So thanks, Dan, for the kind of good segue into here. If you check out Elon's tweets, let me see what has he tweeted anything more out here. There he is. He tweeted out today. He said, let's see. Where is it? Product roadmap coming next. Earnings call. And right here. Initial production of the Cybertruck will be a 4-motor variant with independent, ultra-fast response torque control of each tire. Someone says, could it turn like a tank? Elon says, we'll have both front and rear wheel steer. So not just like a tank, it can drive diagonally like a crab. That's going to be, that's going to be crazy. I can't wait to see it, to be honest. Again, you guys know I don't have my hopes up for any Cybertruck deliveries this year at all. My hopes are very low on that. But there's some conspiracies going around. I talked about this in my last video, if you haven't seen it already, where people are saying is 12.9 the first Cybertruck delivery or whatever. I'm not going to be betting the farm on that, but there are a lot of conspiracies going out over that. Salah says, should we expect Gigafactory news over the weekend? I guess it's entirely likely, although we know that governments don't really work on the weekends. So I don't know. Who knows? Maybe today. I don't know. Jacob says, Yash, is there any way I can listen with just audio? I need to drive somewhere. I don't have YouTube Premium. I think you need YouTube Premium to be able to turn me off. It's well worth the $10 though, to be honest, as someone that watches YouTube way too much. Ernest says, should I buy March 1500 strike calls? Again, don't give any financial advice, so I don't know. I can't really answer that. One thing to take into consideration, like I've said though, pull up my Webull, is that, remember, volatility is high. Volatility is quite high. And that's not to say it might not stay here. It might not continue to go up. But if, judge the case where if implied volatility is quite high and you buy what is an out the money call or an out the money put, you're essentially buying only extrinsic value, right? There's no intrinsic value in an out the money call or put. And so if Tesla treads water in and around this area, this 980, 50 moving average zone or whatever, and even just stays flat for a couple of days, And if implied volatility comes down and the market makers bring that down, do you have a case where you experience theta decay pretty rapidly? That being said, March is not tomorrow, so it's not like it's going to decay massively up until, let's say, 45 days to expiration, but something to take into consideration. Palantir, I plan on buying on the dip. DCA says STC. I see some Palantir comments on here. I'm out of Palantir for now. I was in Palantir. You guys know that. I don't really talk too much about it. I'm out of it for now. I didn't sell. I sold, I think 20 something, but I'm out because it's just the amount of float that this stock has, Palantir, it's just so high. And it's just a dog of a stock right now. Might get into it later. I wanted to move some money around, but I'm out of Palantir for now. That being said, it is pretty oversold, to be honest. But again, high growth stuff is massively sold. Not just Palantir. Take a look at Roku, right? I looked at Roku and I was like, hold up. Roku's sitting at its, what is this, 200 or 150 week moving average, right? Roku's sitting at where it traded December or October of 2020, right? So about over a year and 2 months ago. So, a lot of these stocks have been hit pretty hard. That's not to say that they necessarily make themselves deals. PayPal and Square, I bought some Square yesterday, just some commons in a different account. I just don't know. I'm generally bullish about, and again, I bought them yesterday. Obviously, Square is down 7% today. I have this magic thing where I have the worst timing, but it's okay. I'm going to hold these. They're in my tax-free account. So I don't know. Everything is just getting slaughtered at the moment. Let's see. CRISPR is under $70. CRISPR, I haven't looked at CRISPR's chart in CRISPR. Oh, whoops, I had it. Sorry, doubting myself on the ticker for a second. CRISPR's at $68. Kathy Wood, a genomic special. Man, this thing has just, there's almost an inverse correlation, or maybe it's the proper correlation, a positive correlation with how much extra money Tesla holders have and how high CRISPR had gone, right? So, hey, but here's the good news. On a weekly chart, this is Tesla on a weekly chart. On a weekly chart, Tesla has essentially hit the 9-week average, is sitting around there right now. Could we be reloading for another pop-up on a weekly level? For sure. Again, I'd like for us to close above what is the 9-week moving average. It's 1,015. We're at 1,011 at the moment. If we can hold this, that's generally good. If we close today, let's say sub 1,000, that's generally not looking good. And our next, let's say, weekly average or 21 weekly average, it's not that it's going to get there tomorrow, is 842. So again, stocks generally, barring exogenous news, and we can talk about exogenous news. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about December 9th theory. BS, any truth to it? What's your guess? We can have a kind of a sort of a debate. I was going to put out a poll question about 12.9 and see what my fellow friends on YouTube thought about it and Twitter, but let me know. You guys know where I sit. I talked about this with Tesla Economist. I think betting anything more than what you have that you're willing to risk to lose completely on 12.9 is not worth it. That being said, there's a lot of hints going around. I don't know if that's just Elon teasing. And to be honest, I don't know if 12.9 even happened, right? I don't, like, I almost feel like because it's so big, and I said this is because it's so big, I wonder if that almost makes it not happen because it's catching so much attention. Let's see what you guys think. Lewis says BS. Next week, 10% up, perhaps. I mean, we are sitting at this line here, but I'd like to see us close above 10.15 today, just at a technical level. Elon will be done selling. So some of you guys saying that 12.9 is regarding Elon selling. Perhaps. Maybe. Hey, I guess we'll find out today how much Elon sold, right? Actually, thanks for reminding me. I'm going to pull up, gotta make sure. Today's Friday, folks. So if you have anything expiring, go check up on it. I did buy some SoFi today, just as a swing. I don't know how good the swing is going to be, but I bought some SoFi today. I don't really plan on holding it too long, to be honest. 12.9 is probably just BS. let's see here. If it splits, would Elon get in trouble with the hints? That's the question I have. I don't necessarily know the answer to that. Um, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. Let's see here. So, yeah, you're right. So Tesla China production numbers. Not that we have official numbers yet, and I talked about this on the video yesterday. We don't have official numbers out of China yet. So just watch out for like, yes, we got some Twitter rumors from Tesla China analyst who's been pretty spot on sometimes. Remember, these aren't official CPCA numbers yet. But if 29.5 thousand is correct, right? If 29.5 thousand is correct, and again, shout out to Michael for making this chart for me here, or for us as a community. So I love the Tesla community. Um, Remember, comparing it to August is more apt, right? August is the second month of the quarter. They sold about 13,000 domestically then. And so, really, 28,000 or whatever, 29,500 rounding up to 30, it shows a massive increase in domestic sales. And now this could potentially be about the EV rebate that there is in China. I don't know all the details about that, but I think it's large portion of it is being phased out towards the end of this fiscal year. So potentially there's a large portion of that. But I also remember, and I got some comments about this as well, saying I have to think this person's tweeting. I have to think the export number will be huge too. Shanghai is the export hub, and prices in Europe have been higher. I got another tweet. I forget where it was. This one, and I don't admittedly follow all the ships very closely, but there have been more ships than ever, says another Twitter user, Lord Cummings. So it does look like it's generally it's looking pretty bullish. 1017 on Tesla. We're getting a little pop here to end the day. Again, remember 1015. I'd like to see us close the week at least holding that 9-week average. And on a daily level, we really don't have a lot of levels other than 1,000, to be honest. And the 980 is that 50-day moving average. So if we want to zoom out macro wise, finishing above this orange line, this 9-week average, at least signals that macro bulls are potentially at least willing to hold that line. So that's funny. Let's see here. Yeah, 1,016 right now sitting on Tesla stock. I'm gonna take a look. Also, there's not a lot of dark pool levels, I should say, underneath. Let me just pull this up if I can. 1,017 sitting on Tesla. So it looks like we're getting some rallying to end the day here. But really, dark pool wise, this is TradyTick's dark pool levels, support and resistance charts. And you can see on the left hand side where all of the dark pool levels of support and resistance might be. And really, as you can tell, under 1017, which I'm doesn't not sure if this is a bug, but it doesn't show me how much $1 million of dark pool support and resistance there are. There's not a lot of support and resistances to look at there. So really, 1017 might be a magnet here at the dark pool level. And again, dark pool orders allow us to essentially get a rough gauge of where there might be intrinsic support and resistances for stocks. And Tesla does a pretty decent job of kind of sticking to these levels, not all the time, but it's been a decent way if you want to look at entries or exits, let's say for trading calls or puts. Dark pool levels as well, or daily dark pool levels. You'll notice here on the 30th of November, we had $2 billion worth of dark pool orders placed. 2 billion. That's more than what we've seen all the month of November. And again, that might have to do with end of month fund balancing. In terms of dark pool sentiment, we haven't seen a green dark pool day, I mean net new buying in Tesla stock. What site is this? This is TradyTick's. Link is in the description if you want to try them out. They don't just have dark pool stuff, by the way. It's also options flow, which we'll go into in a second here. But Tesla hasn't had a positive net new dark pool buying day since November the 8th. November the 8th. Every single day essentially since then has been negative net amount of dark pool trades going through. So, take that with how you want. Let's check out the live options order flow for Tesla though. Let's check this out. Lots and lots of puts at the ask. Oh wow, check this out. $5 million February 1200 strike in the money Tesla put. Wow, he's getting puts hand over fist right now. 300K, 300K, 200K at the ask, 900 out the monies. These are for next week, eh? So next week's next week's out the money puts, the 900s, they're coming hand over fist at the 900s, the 950s. We're not really, and whenever we get a call, like this one is a call sweep, but it's on the ask side, meaning it's well, actually, it's good. This one is at the bid side, 1050. So it seems like kind of a spread going on here. So a lot of puts on the ask. In fact, if I come in here and I go puts, bought, and let's do short term. Can I do short term? Short term expiration. Check out the amount of next week options or put options bought at the ask. 300K, 300K, 200K. These are 900 strike. This is a 950 strike for 3.12 million. 950, 850 strike. These are above the ask. There's one at the bid. I'm not sure why that didn't get filtered out. There's a lot of put buying coming in for next week. A lot. Let me clear this. Calls, short-term expiration, and let's do bought. This is how many calls are bought. So 120K, 29. I wish I could add these up. Text, if you're listening, that's a feature that I wish you can implement one time. There's just a accumulation of it. It's got to filter out for Tesla as well. Other stocks are coming in there. So 378 entries. Just a lot of, and we'll do greater than $1 million worth of premium on Tesla for a hot second. Let's check that out. Greater than $1 million, and let's do short-term expiration only. So we have about, 80 entries. Out of the 80 entries, you'll see a large majority of these are puts at the ask for next week. Wow, $2.38 million of puts at the ask for next week, 950, 900, 950 here. This one is bullish because this one is puts at the bid, which again is selling puts. Wow, millions, we're talking a lot. We're not seeing a lot of call sweeps coming in, right? Yes, granted, we are seeing puts at the bid, so those are being sold, so that's technically bullish, but some more puts being sold here. And then, I guess this is earlier on in the day, hey? So towards the end of today, though, it seems like the good majority of these are puts at the ask. So something to take into consideration moving into next week is how, I would say, bearish the options order flow is at the moment. Let's read some comments. Harry says much of that is likely hedging by institutional longs, potentially. But Harry, the issue I might have with that argument or that thesis is that institutional longs wouldn't really want to hedge for a week and pay this much premium. When people are coming in and I'm looking at stuff for December the 10th expiration. This is a week, right? This is a week, 7 days. So really, this is directional betting, in my opinion, more than it is institutional hedging. Yeah, if they're coming in post earnings call, January strike or February strike, or let's say June of next year, potentially. But to put this much money into directional betting for a week out of expiration, generally wouldn't scream that to me. No. Puts on the ask. Puts on the ask. Thanks for the laugh today. Okay. Got some oranges up in here. We're sitting at 1,017 here for Tesla. Get a nice bounce to end the day. Hitting some supply zones. Our volume weighted, what's our VWAP for the day here today? Let me check this out. Indicators. VWAP. Don't see my VWAP. Oh, man, I moved my Weeble a little bit. It screwed up my whole setup. Makes me kind of upset. Hold on. Okay. Hopefully that's not annoying here. Okay, there we go. Our volume weighted average price is a 1,031. Wow. VWAP is sitting all the way up 1,030. I'd be very surprised if we get there in the next 30 minutes, but I definitely welcome it. Eat more juju. I am. In fact, I am eating juju. I hope you guys join me. Hey, at the bare minimum, when we eat oranges, when we eat juju, at least we gain vitamin C, right? You should see the DMs I get from people telling me the health, their physical health due to the amount of oranges that they eat is thanks to me, is just skyrocketing. Like Tesla stock right now. 1020 sitting on Tesla stock. Hey, it looks like we might actually make that break to the volume weighted average price. Hey, 1,020 here sitting on Tesla. It's funny. It's like, Tesla falls like $70. We're like, oh, okay. Then it like goes up 10 and we're like, whoo, just one of those weeks this week, folks. Digital says, you said health and the price jumped $3. Health. Here we go. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate that. How many likes are we sitting? Yeah, one request I have for you if you're watching and you want to support the channel. You don't have to go on Patreon or channel membership, although I appreciate all of my patrons and channel members. Just hit the like button. We're at 143 likes, 600 people watching. If we can get to 500, I'd be stoked. 177. Wow, you guys are fast. This thing moves pretty fast too. 188. Mine's probably a little bit lagged, but thanks for hitting the like, folks. Appreciate it. Oh, my bad. We're at 900 viewers. Sorry. We're not at 600 viewers. There we go. 250 likes. There we go. Slowly coming up here. Thank you, folks, for hitting the like. So let's check it out. You know what I want to do for a hot second here? I don't actually use Weeble's other features very often. Oh, by the way, hold on. Let's go back to Tesla. 1,019, 1,020 is kind of where we're sitting hot and heavy on Tesla here. I want to pull up their heat map just for a hot second. And I want to see how the heat map is looking. So look at my watch list. It's not looking pretty. I want to let's see if I can do just tech. So telecommunications, whatever. Let's do, so e-commerce, very ugly. Renewables, bad. Recreational, bad. What's green today? What industries are good? Natural gas utilities, multi-line utilities, computers, food. Food and drugs, not bad. Walmart's up today. Food and tobaccos are up. Pharmaceuticals, busy. Not really much going on there. They don't have the S&P 500 on here, do they? That's too bad. Okay, whatever. No big deal. So 1,018 sitting on Tesla stock. I can pull up my Thinkorswim. I know they'd have it. Hey, Jim Chanos is on CNBC. He's talking about DraftKings, though, so I won't put it up. CSZ says, give us a good old Canadian A. Hey, I'd have to use it in a sentence, eh? I don't really know. Spike in the dollar makes sense. What is the dollar trading at in comparison to the Canadian dollar? That is, I try. Oh wow, yeah, the US dollar got pretty strong here. Let's see here. We got a $1.1 million call at the ask, or a call for 1,000 strike call. So it's at the money. So it's kind of in the money, to be honest. So nothing spicy there. Yeah, DraftKings is down 10% as well. Yeah. Let's see here. I don't really know if he's short Tesla anymore, to be honest. I could be wrong, but I don't know if he is. You know what's interesting, right? Is I had this theory when Tesla stock was going up, and I still have this theory, and we won't find out for another 2 months. 2 months. But during this run up, I've pulled up the daily graph on Tesla here. During this run up, at the end of October, as we know, from $850 all the way to $1,200, I really think there's a whale that is yet to bring him or herself out that had been buying Tesla stock during that time. Now, I posted that theory, and some of you guys said maybe it's Warren Buffett, maybe it's and it's got to be someone massive like that. I don't know. And yes, I think funds having to become equal weight, like Gary Black says, probably is a portion of it as well. By the way, 1,020 sitting on Tesla stock for my audio friends listening out there. It's, yeah, I don't know. Hey, Mark, thank you for the $20 super chat. Wow, appreciate it. I can't wait for these factories to come online. That's a big one, right? I mean, at the end of the day, and by the way, why didn't you pop up here? Oh, you did. Okay, good. Want to make sure all the super chatters get. Did you guys hear that alert? Let me know if you guys heard it. I'm trying to pull up, trying to make sure that if anyone super chats, it at least buzzes like it did before. I turned it off for a couple of my interviews, and your boy can't figure out how to turn it back up. Okay, yes, you heard. Okay, awesome. Thank you. So going back, like, by the way, 1,022 looks like we're rallying a little bit to close here, but I'm not sure how much good that does on Tesla. But again, I don't know who'd been buying Tesla, but it seems evident to me. It seems evident to me that there is a big whale that had been buying, and until the 13F filings for quarter four come out, which are not due until I think 45 days until the quarter end. So 45 days, so for, I don't know, February, let's call it Valentine's Day. They're not due until then. We won't know. Right? Let's see how stuff is doing here. Yeah, portfolio has been a wild one this week, right? The weekly candle on Tesla, not pretty. Not putting in a great weekly candle. But again, remember, closing above the 9-week average at 1,015, and we were at 1,005, I think, when I was saying that. But closing above there is kind of what's needed to continually show that bulls still might control the stock at a larger week-to-week level, at least, not a day-by-day level. So, and again, remember, 1,000, it's a human psychological level as well, right? Let's see here. Could be worse. Could be like DocuSign, says Vern. DocuSign. Oh, I heard what happened on the earnings call. DocuSign is down 42%. Oh, geez. By the way, this looks like this rip that's happening is not just Tesla related. This has got to be macro related. Let me check this out. The S&P 500, is it rallying? Yep. S&P 500 is rallying a little bit to close. Again, this might be shorts covering to end the week. The NASDAQ is actually rallying as well, back up to only down 2.3% on the day. I have a problem going long with VIX VIX is collapsing. Ooh, folks, this is good. This is what we need to see. If we're going to have a continued rally again, we need VIX to come back down to a manageable level. Anything over 25, man, if we can get below 20, that'd be awesome, but might be asking a lot right now. And to be honest, a lot of this virus fear is I find it really funny right now because, like, yesterday you saw the report come out of New York that there's a new Omicron variant out with cases. It's like, did people not expect this? Like, there's cases going to be everywhere. It's a variant. This thing spreads. Like, we all know that. So the fact that futures took such a nosedive yesterday based on that news made no sense to me, considering that anyone with half a brain would know, of course, this thing is going to spread and it's going to be everywhere. But that's not the point. The point is, how is it in relation to the vaccination statuses right now of people? And how much more worse is it even worse? That's the question. It's not about how widespread it is, because we know it's going to be, right? So the point is mitigation of symptoms and make sure that vaccination statuses of people don't have to change now based on this variant. That's the whole goal. So yesterday with all this New York news, I just they had like 5 cases or something, and then futures took like a 0.5% nose, 50 basis point nosedive, which is huge for the futures. Just made no sense. What's a VIX? VIX is the volatility index for the market. Essentially, it's the fear index. Okay, almost. So 34 is massively fearful in the market right now. During the original COVID March of 2020, like, I think VIX was massive back then. Like, VIX almost has an inverse direction to the bull market, right? So COVID March, VIX hit $85. Like, all hell was breaking loose during that time. 1,017 sitting on Tesla stock. Let's see here. I think it's Inflation data. Yeah. So, we didn't talk much. Sorry, I'm just going to raise my desk here a little bit. I've got one of these sit to stand desks. I'm sure. Hold on. Let me bring it back down. Yeah. Make sure my monitor's out of the view. Okay. Yes. When we talk about inflation, we talk about the 10-year treasury yields. Obviously, yields are going down because people are buying bonds hand over fists, right? Yields down 8% on the day. 8%. The yields are down 8% on the day. And yet growth is massively down. So we have some sort of divergence there. And obviously investors are saying like, hey, inflation's high and you also can't raise rates. Raising rates, and I've got my CNBC pulled up, but I don't think there's anything Tesla related in here. Raising rates, I'm not sure that I think that would probably kill a lot of the economy in the short term. And obviously the rates aren't going to increase until they do their tapering first. So 1,013 sitting on Tesla stock. I need one of those electric ones. I know. I decided I bought this like 3 years ago. I decided to cheap out, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll just get some. I'll get some exercise. Bitcoin's down too. Yeah, crypto's down as well. All right, I'm pounding another orange for the last 20 minutes of close here. All right, folks. I encourage you to grab your jujus. Any citrus work. I've seen people eat lemons on stream. I haven't seen, allegedly people have been eating lemons. Today might be a lemon kind of day, to be quite honest. You guys were funny. But here's a thought process. I kind of, I'm always trying to ask myself these questions. Now, if this new variant shows anything different than we've seen before, the question here is I'll do some line with my tequila. There you go, Michael. The question here is, does this change anything from the Fed's perspective? And perhaps, does it make it where the Fed realizes, hey, we can't actually start tapering. We can't actually start raising rates next year because of this thing. And potentially, does that change the equation? It's almost like bad news is good news again, right? If you guys remember, jobs report was weak again. During during 2020, all bad news was almost good news. Where when bad news would come out, macroeconomically speaking, that would just mean that the Fed would have to come in and baby all of us again. And so investors were like, "Hey, great, the Fed's babying us here." So, how are the crypto markets doing? Well, Bitcoin is at 53,000 ish. Cardano again taking a dip here at $1.55. Doge is somehow still at 20 cents. How? I don't know. You guys know how I feel about Doge. ETH sitting at 4.16K and Solana down at 210. I bought some ETH a couple weeks ago right around here. So I was up for a little bit and now it seems like it's back there. So I'm not bothered to chase. 1,009 sitting on Tesla. It looks like that VWAP chase is probably not going to happen. I don't know how I feel about like short-term puts as well on a stock like Tesla. Next week is, I dropped my orange. Hopefully that's not too inauspicious. Next week, remember, not sure how many of you guys are even following the 12/9 conspiracy going on, but that's next Thursday, right? Don't know. But remember also, check this out. If you guys haven't seen it, not CNBC, if you guys haven't seen it as well, in this, we actually get some seasonality. And we can see that Tesla on Mondays usually does really well. Check out the win rate for Tesla on Mondays. It's substantially higher. Well, I mean, relatively higher, I should say. It's a 53% win rate, meaning percentage of the time Tesla finishes green. Mondays are pretty much the highest that Tesla has a win rate on any day of the week, according to this. So Tuesdays are not bad as well, sitting at 51. And I guess you could say 53 is just a coin toss as well. But relatively speaking, Mondays are usually better. And again, remember, January has been other than June, January is the strongest month for Tesla, right? 73%, close to 73% win rates. for Tesla in January. So Benjamin, inauspicious, nice word, Yash. I'm educated. I don't really like that word, to be honest. Don't know why. Because I suck at spelling. The 12-9 conspiracy. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, the 12-9 conspiracy. No thoughts. I don't think. I think it's cool if you want to follow that theory around. What I do love about that theory is, and I'm gonna pull up the algo flow chart in a second here. What I like about that theory, though, and you guys will have to agree with me on this, is that we'll know one way or another on that, or by the Friday of next week, right? Like we'll know. The problem with most conspiracy theories is that they don't have an end date that you'll find out the truth, right? Like you just kind of be left forever kind of thinking if it is true or false. At least with that conspiracy, we'll know if it's true or false, right? We'll know. China production numbers as well next week, says Meliel. Yeah, for sure. I mean, CPCA, I think the 8th of December or the 9th of December. I think historically speaking, it's usually the 8th or 9th of the month. So that gets us to the Thursday, Friday. No, the Wednesday, Thursday, is it? Yeah, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, exactly. The algo flow chart for Tesla is not looking very strong. Not looking very strong. The macro markets, let's pull up the NASDAQ here for a second. Macro markets, again, algo flow is pretty much converged to where it needs to be. The S&P 500, let's check this out as well. Again, yeah, pretty weak. Nothing massive here. Just selfish. Let me check out Square here for a second and see how Square is doing. All right, so Square is showing some potential bullish divergence, but Tesla's, again, looking weak here to close the day. $1,004. Not the close we all wanted to see. 1,015 again is what we wanted to see. We still have 15 minutes to go here, but we'll see. NT on Discord tagging me in something. NT, let me try to pull this up if I can. By the way, thank you to all Discord members, Patreon subscribers, YouTube channel members. If you want to join us on Discord as well, you can. Shout out to you, NT, for this. Expected profit growth this year from Tesla is ranked number 1. This is a tweet here. Tesla had 780% profit growth this year. Guessing this means this fiscal year. So Amazon's profit is growing. And again, the magnitude of numbers has a large portion of play in here, but good to see that. 1,004 sitting on Tesla here. All right, let's do our weekly Friday Tesla closing guess. Leave your Tesla closing price guesses in the chat. Again, Price is Right rules. If you are even a cent over, you do not win. You have to come closest and under to the guess. So 1,001 sitting on Tesla stock. And again, only one guess per commenter or per entry. Your prize is that I'll eat another slice of orange. It's a really high valued prize, to be honest. All right, we got some good 973. Oh, hope not. That's from Waka. 1,017 Vern. I like that. All right. Some good guesses here. 1,005. Remember, one guess, folks. If you guess twice by accident, I won't disqualify you, but I'll take the second guess. Dan Ives on CNBC, is it? I've got CNBC pulled up here, but I don't see it right now. 1,003 sitting on. Oh, he is. Hold on. Let's pull him up.
As well for a special deep dive into
Thank you for the
Dan, good afternoon to you. Let's
kick
things off with the broader market. Stocks plunging to cap off a volatile week. The Nasdaq, the worst performer of the major averages. Mike, we have bounced a little bit, I guess, in the last
Green
20
tidal
minutes
wave,
or so.
yeah.
But take us back to the morning. Was there a set trigger for why we pulled off? Because 9:15, 9:30, it all looked pretty good.
Yeah, it didn't seem like a set news-related trigger. Obviously, the jobs report was sort of in the eye of the beholder. Good enough, though, probably not to change the Fed story. I really do think it was the concentrated, intense selling and what seemed, again, like forced selling in some of those big tech names where it was just kind of a surrender in those areas that just built upon itself with the Nasdaq. Now, why, though, did we not see a more forceful rotation and kind of an effort by people to come into other areas of the market and maybe, create one of those very happy rotations we've seen, because we have 2 days of potential headlines about COVID. And I do think that's kind of staying in the hands of those would-be folks who would be like, fine, I'll just buy old economy stuff right here. They did hold up better for much of the day, but I think the destabilizing effect of a lot of that portfolio stress is taking.
Or the narrative of the Fed is going to tighten, the Fed is going to tighten.
Wait, did I miss Dan?
A little maybe got someone worried that the Fed is going to make a mistake. You're seeing the 10-year yield right now at 135.
Yeah.
Lower. They have moved lower all week long. I think it surprised a lot of people. The yield curve flattening in particular. And if that was really, if this was about tightening, A, that wouldn't happen, and B, you'd see different parts of the market working. And right now it's just defensives that do well when the yields are lower.
I disagree that it's not about tightening in general this week with the long end going down. A flattening effect is they're going to tighten and maybe too much. That's kind of where it stands right there. I do think that investors in general recognize that the Fed has to assert that it's attentive to inflation right now because it's much closer to its goal on employment at this point. And so until you see the inflation numbers ease off on their own, if they do that in the next few months, you still at least have to be uncertain about it. I really do think, though, that 2 days of we don't know what's going to hit, and this market has not quite been stress tested for maybe evidence of a new wave of cases if we know it's benign or not, then that's one of the reasons that you might have had an exacerbating effect. I stand back, though. I say 5% pullback. We're holding 4,500. It doesn't look great, but it's certainly within the realm of kind of normal rhythms of this market.
Well, we're seeing a lot of the high-growth tech sell-off today. DocuSign, the worst of the bunch. It's plunging on the back of earnings last night. The company beating on EPS and revenue, but issuing weak fourth-quarter guidance. Dan, you downgraded the stock to neutral, lowered your price target to 200 from 340. Why the change of heart completely?
Yeah, I mean, we've been long-time supporters of DocuSign. It's been one of our favorite names over the last few years, but let's just call it like it is. I mean, this quarter was a debacle, and I think the communication on the conference call left investors scratching their heads. And I think this is one where, growth could continue to decel. This is a stock that could continue to re-rate lower. And you just came off that conference call feeling like there's really no strategic direction. We're coming at basically overnight, conditions changed.
So, Dan, to what extent was your downgrade or today's share price pullback, in your eyes, based on changing estimates for future revenues and earnings versus multiple compression as the sort of confidence in the story, the outlook for top-line growth clearly collapsed as well? But I ask because one wonders to what extent that could start to be applied across your whole set of stocks that you cover and not just one of them.
Well, and that's really what's happened today, because the DocuSign black eye for tech, now you're starting to see any high multiple name from Zscaler or across the CrowdStrike and others sell off because is there a cascade effect? Now, I do think DocuSign is more company specific, but just speaks to that sort of work from home trade. And a lot of it is that you don't have confidence in management, but they're going to get you out of what could be viewed as sort of a one-quarter speed bump. Then you start to have almost a cockroach thesis. It's never just one miss. You have many more. And that's what I think happens. You combine that with just an overall jittery market, plus the DD news in terms of the U.S.-China cold tech war heating up. That's not what investors wanted to see. But DocuSign right here, significantly in the penalty box. And I think this is one that's going to take a long time to see a re-rating here.
Just to follow up on that point one more time, Dan, did you reconsider your price targets across all of your stocks today? Were there any others where you thought maybe I need to update my model there as well, even if it's in a quite different business line to DocuSign? He's
hinting at Tesla.
Yeah, if I thought it was broader than DocuSign, then that's something we have to look at. When I look at names across cybersecurity, even across cloud names like Microsoft and others, I do think it is much more company specific with DocuSign. But speaking to that point in terms of valuations, any speed bump on any of these high growth names, the stocks will be down 30, 40%. So that's why fundamental checks are so important, like we've seen with the names like Zscaler, CyberArk, and others. Those are ones you could defend. But when you listen to that DocuSign call last night, just really no confidence the street came away with in terms of how they handled that.
Let's talk about one of the positives, Marvell Technology, which amid the sell-off is rallying by about 17% following strong earnings last night. The company beat on both the top and bottom line and gave better than expected Q4 guidance. CEO Matt Murphy appeared on CNBC earlier today.
We had a tremendous performance.
All right, let's pause this for a hot second until he starts talking about something related to Tesla. 1,008 sitting on Tesla here to end the day. We have about 6 minutes left until close here. Thanks for all your guesses coming in. Now the question is, what does this weekend bring, right? Does this weekend bring clarities to the market that this variant is not really very much different than Delta, let's say, in terms of vaccinations are going to be, or what's going to bring us out of this? Is it, and by the way, we're pumping here to close the day. We got 5 minutes left here. Is it going to be different in the respect where, oh, wow. Is it going to be different in the respect where 2014 sitting on Tesla here? Is it going to be different in the sense that potentially this brings up different fiscal policies to bring into? I don't know. Dan is still talking about Marvel Tech, so I don't really care to be honest about Marvel Tech. And so this is what the market is going to have to clear up to end the day, or to this weekend, let's say, or in the following couple of weeks. We already know that air travel has kind of been banned from certain countries. And I guess that approach of trying to be like, more cautious to begin with is probably a better way to go about it. And they're talking about ARC now. Let's try.
It has been a rough go here.
Well, they went up in unison into February and March, right? So it was considered almost to be its own subsegment of the market. There is a risk, not just that, I'm buying very expensive stocks with a lot of high expectations built into them and a lot of other people are crowding in at the same time. That's one thing. But once they go on the downside and people really want to flee, when one of your holdings is going down, you also have to kind of cut risk elsewhere. And so that's why I think they trade largely in unison. Of course, you can't also escape the fact that there are traders and investors out there that are more actively betting against this fund. And it's seen as if it's weak hands right now. Price momentum fails first. Fundamental momentum decelerates, as you're seeing in a lot of those names. And then, by the way, these stocks and this fund, if it wasn't fun to own them and trade them, that was a big part of it. And once it stops being fun, what's the point? And so I think we're in that stage right now. And the time they bottom is when nobody's even talking or thinking about them anymore.
Well, she does tend to buy on the dip. She's got her pick today.
She will. She has the flows to do it.
Tesla, speaking of, is one of the worst performing stocks on the S&P today after new filings reveal CEO Elon Musk sold again another $1 billion worth of Tesla shares. Musk has now sold more than $10 billion worth of stock in the past month. Separately, Tesla filed plans to recall more than 20,000 Model Y vehicles in China today due to issues with auto parts from suppliers, Dan. Any of those two factors concern you? I know you're a big Tesla bull.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the selling of stock, that's obviously well known. It's the China issue. Yeah, especially when you look what happened with Didi overnight in terms of that U.S.-China cold tech war heating up. When you look at Tesla, that's 40% of deliveries in terms of China. That's a key part of their factory in terms of Giga and really the bull thesis. So there's fears of some sort of retaliation with Tesla caught in the middle. And the last thing you want to see are any sort of safety issues creep up in Beijing with Big Brother out of Beijing. You don't want to see them crack down on Musk and Tesla. That's why the stock's selling off today. Tesla and Apple, clearly the two most exposed U.S. tech companies to China in terms of what continues to just be, I'll call a U.S. cold China tech war really starting to heat up.
Mike, quickly on Tesla, how relevant is that $1,000 mark?
Well, it's relevant because people are trying to defend it. I mean, I think there's a psychological relevance to it. The low today was 1,021 cents. So clearly there's a concentration of options exposures there. NVIDIA at 300, I think, is another interesting one because that was the level that they just blew it through on the upside when there was a lot of that kind of pile on in the options area. So, yeah, I'm sure there's plenty going on the fundamental side and China talk and the rest of it. But tactically speaking, it's under pressure with a lot of the stocks owned by the same people. And there's a little bit of a stand being attempted. By the way, NVIDIA and AMD are the weak links in semis today, where you have things like Broadcom, Texas Instruments, NXP, of course, Marvell doing well.
We will keep an eye on those price targets at the moment, both.
So, okay, this China story, I'm going to have to look at it. I think, wasn't it an update, a software update on the Model Y. I'm gonna have to do some more digging on it. But check out the price action. You know, we talked about the negative gamma exposure sitting at 1,000 strike, and check out how hard that 1,000 level is in terms of how fast it can go off of that 1,000 back up to 1,016. Again, 1,015 didn't look likely here a couple seconds ago, and now we are probably likely in the next 5 seconds here going to close above $1,015 in the week, which is awesome. So good to see that we're closed. Here we are. There we go. We've now closed above 1,015.25. So really, I'm not going to say it's a coincidence, but it looks like the bulls were just by very briefly actually, technically we're on this orange line, a couple of cents on it, able to close right around there. So a big closing cross as well. It looks like we had about 800,000 shares traded at the last minute here. And so 1,014.97 is the final. And I see some people commenting. I'm going to see who. So no one hit the nail on the head in terms of the guesses. Let me just pull this up here. I don't think anyone actually. Oh, you know what? My chat's got cut off here. Any of the mods in here know who won this contest? Shooter says I lost. I'm gonna have to dig around it for later. But 1,014.97 is the settled closing price on Tesla for the week. And Evan says, "Do I think Elon sold?" My logic says no. My heart kind of thinks that he might have, but really, I'm gonna stick by saying no. I think today was macro related. Again, remember, look at VIX finishing at $32, right? $32. VIX is super high right now. So you know. I think this is a lot of it is macro related right now, what we're seeing in the markets. But again, $1,000 looks like good psychological support. Next week, we have a lot of Tesla puts that were opened and swept for today and yesterday, potentially coming to fruition. Let's see if that $1,000 doesn't hold. This weekend might be I don't know, slippery. I mean, I guess we'll find out when Sunday futures open up as where it is. Michael says, be fearful when others are greeting when others are fearful. Absolutely. It just matters how much cash you're sitting on then. And let's see here. I saw a comment here. Yeah, what parts were T-Max saying, what parts were specifically on the 20,000 recall? I've just pulled up Sawyer's Twitter here, and I actually missed it. So if anyone knows, feel free to tag me on Twitter if you know what that recall was. I obviously missed it. Yeah, so I'm not entirely sure. Tag me on Twitter if you can, at Hey It's Ashley, link in the description. So, I mean, we'll see. 1,015 is still better than closing at 1,000, sitting at lows of day. And I guess we'll find out. I mean, here's a couple of good jujus I'll throw out there. Austin is about to come online very, very, very soon. Berlin as well. We know that. And so once we get the headlines that, hey, Tesla Giga Austin has now begun production, something to watch out for there in terms of positive upside risk. Same thing, not risk, but opportunity, I guess, for us longs. Tesla Berlin as well. You know, a Brandenburg factory is coming online as well. So that's something to look forward to there as well. And no, I don't think there are any new news on that. Bobby says recall was a suspension part. Okay, thank you. I'm going to have to do some deep digging on that there. Someone I think just tagged me. John, thank you. John tagged me on it on Twitter. Appreciate you, John. Tesla Roddy is reporting Tesla China recalls 22,000 Model Ys over front and rear steering wheel knuckle issues. Okay, they filed a recall plan with the regulation from now domestically made Model Y electric vehicles with a production date between February and October. Wow, so pretty much the whole year will be recalled. A total of almost 22,000 for some vehicles within the scope of this recall due to manufacturing reasons. The strength of the foot and rear steering knuckles may not meet design requirements. Okay, so not sure how in-depth that is, but obviously suspension. Tesla made in China Model Y owner. I was driving at a low speed when I heard a loud noise. I suspected axle broke. I got out of the car and found broken front axle. Okay, interesting. Not great. Actually, this came out last night. That's why I missed it. With this in mind, safe to assume that some of the Model Ys in China have export to foreign territories might be fitted with faulty front and rear steering wheel knuckles. Okay. So, hey, they're pretty fast to respond to it. That's good. I guess we'll find out. So, not great there. And I probably should have known that. I actually didn't catch wind of that until now. So, but to be honest, I don't think Tesla fell 7% because of 21,000 of their cars being recalled. Yeah, but definitely a safety issue there. And the reason why I say that is because legacy auto, it happens every day in the auto business. Thousands of cars get recalled all the time. But definitely good on fixing it. Awesome. Well, thanks for an awesome week, folks. Nonetheless, I'll be putting out videos on probably do some sort of a reaction video in the next couple of days, over the weekend, that is. And then Monday, let's go. I said this last Friday, but I'm going to try to go live, let's say in the first half of the morning, or first half of the day towards the morning, for Power Hour on Monday, and then closing for Friday like we normally do. If it's your first time on the channel, we do Friday Power Hour closings every Friday. So, hit the subscribe, hit the like for that if you like the content. I much appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, remember, over the weekend, put your phones away, put everything all digital away. Our portfolios don't change over the weekend. Take yourself if you need a mental health break, if you need to meditate, go visit family, do whatever you need. The weekend's there for us to recharge so we can come back stronger for next week. Much love. Take care. Don't worry. At the end of the day, right? These are numbers on a screen. And we say this on green days as well, but, go enjoy your life. All right. Much love, guys. Catch you guys in the next one. And I'll be signing off now.